we get so acclimated to having pain and having things that we can't talk about and having frustrations. Frustration and pain will predictably grow into resentment. That's actually
Yes.
a healthy emotional system. The emotional system is doing what it's supposed to do. Obviously, resentment isn't a sign of psychological health. There's something I'm not dealing with. But if I don't deal with it, emotional health will convert frustration and pain into resentment over time. Resentment, you might describe it as the emotion of I can't bring something to you. You can't tolerate. It's the emotion of overfunctioning. So if I treat you as if I can't bring something to you, my emotional system is going to reflect that. And I'm going to live in this world where it's like, oh, I'm over-functioning. Either I do more than you do in our life, or I do more than you do emotionally, something like that. So have a growth plan. I would say, like, get in with some really good mentors, like pastoral counseling, read books together. And at the first sign of a conflict or a pain point is recurring, go see a professional, man. I say go see somebody who knows, and don't just go see a counselor. I would go see ideally somebody who somebody else knows, a personal referral. Ideally somebody who knows Christ, because mental health as a field goes all sorts of weird directions. So you want somebody whose theory is checked by good theology. And then lastly, if at all possible, I would go to see somebody who practices what we call EFT, or emotionally focused couples therapy, because it is a framework that understands healthy adult attachment. So it's a clinical training you can get in the secular world that not only aligns with the truth of God, but it actually gives us a framework. It's not going to tell you like, oh, you're unfulfilled because you evolved over millions of years to want lots and lots of sexual partners or something. It's going to eliminate all that junk on a clinical level. So EFT, Christian ideally, and if at all possible, a personal referral where somebody else can say, yeah, I've worked with them, or I know somebody who's worked with them and they're good.
I love it, dude. I absolutely love it. Okay, so all right, we'll land the plane here soon.
So much good stuff, man.
Oh gosh, so good, so good. So the ones that are, let's give somebody. I had another one. What was I going to get at? I'll go to this one first. So they're, I don't know how many years in, and they're know that there's an issue. Before going to, like, let's say they don't have the means to go to therapy. They're like literally broke. There's financial issues. How can they start tackling this themselves if right now they know their marriage is like, let's call it what do they call it? A dry marriage, a dead end marriage, or what are they calling it? When like
most people are going to
hopeless marriage.
Feel really stuck.
Yeah, a stuck
really
marriage.
Stuck marriage. Yeah.
What do they do? Like, where do they start? What's the best thing they can do?
Probably takes us back to the most. And if you think God designed the church to be the individual follower of Christ's primary hospital. He designed the church to meet the needs of the body of Christ. That's, I think, God's vision. So the first place I would go is, man, go to your local church, the community. If you're not involved in one, man, what a huge diagnostic feedback loop is that your marriage is telling you, ooh, not just the marriage might be needing an adjustment. We need community in our life.
Yeah.
If you, let's say you're not a follower of Christ, you're not involved in a church, man, I would definitely get involved in some sort of community where you can have like real healthy peers because man, we work out so many problems by laughing about those challenges.
Yeah,
like when
totally.
when we go on double dates with other couples and we laugh about things that if we kept them private for too long would be real sources of pain, anger, fear. When we're able to like talk to another couple and they say, oh yeah, me too, it loses like 90% of its power on us. So we're really designed to like work these things out in community. There's a really phenomenal book. This is predominantly for the follower of Christ. There's a secular version of the book that's also tremendously good. Sue Johnson, who is the architect of EFT, the model that I'm specialized in, she wrote a book called Hold Me Tight. That's going to be a secular version. It's a really good book. It's just not faith integrated. Same book, co-written with a pastor, is called Created for Connection. Those two books are phenomenal roadmaps. If you're feeling stuck, you don't have access to a therapist, a book is like $12 or something. And what I would do is I would get that book and then I would find another friend, another couple who will go through that book with you. is it going to be helpful to go through it privately, just you and your husband, just you and your wife? 100% it'll be helpful. It'll be good. The problem is we tend to radically underestimate the impact of our pain on our ability to do constructive communication, right? When people come in and they say, we want to learn communication skills, the first thing I'm going to tell you is, no, you don't. I don't teach communication skills because when you're not in pain, you have all the communication skills that you need, or you wouldn't have gotten to marriage. You dated because you had good communication skills. That means when she was telling a story, you leaned in and you were interested. When she told you something hard, you empathized and you said, that's terrible, man. I'm so sorry that happened to you, or whatever. We've got good communication skills. The problem is we don't understand the impact of emotion in these moments. So that's why if it's possible to go through a book like that with another couple, it's really helpful. It does a couple of things. A, we get an external mirror, because when we're really polarized, a husband and wife, we stop trusting the mirror. So like if I get really charged and my husband says to me, or my wife says to me, like, man, you feel super defensive right now, I'm going to reject that feedback because I don't trust you on an emotional level. If my friend says, hey, Brian, you seem pretty defensive right now, bro, it's going to be a lot harder for me to reject that feedback. And we also tend to be on better behavior when we're around other people. So it keeps the train from picking up too much momentum and going off the tracks. So if I don't have access to a good therapist, find the healthiest couple you can. Say, hey, we're really struggling. We're going to go through this book. Would you be willing to go through this book with us?
Wow.
And just have some constructive conversations. Because what we want to do is the healing plan, the plan to restoring a marriage is, first thing we want to do is we want to map the problem. We want to map this emotional dance that we keep doing back and forth when, you see socks on the floor and it triggers a pain that you've experienced a million times, that you can't rely on him, and you feel really alone. And then out comes criticism. He hears criticism and he's like, nothing's ever good enough for you. He feels defensive. He feels like he's failing. Back comes this dismissive, defensive response, and we escalate. What we want to do before we solve the sock problem, what we want to do.
I'm laughing because there isn't a guy listening to this that doesn't go through the sock thing.
Exactly.
There's just not one. Not one.
We want to actually be able to look at the dance and say, that's what we do. You feel alone, and out comes criticism. I feel defense. I feel not good enough. I feel attacked, and out comes defensiveness. When we can see the dance that we do, when we can see it, we realize you're not the enemy. That thing is, which is what the book helps you do. It's what we do in therapy too. And the degree to which we can do that with other people is really
give me the name of the books again. The secular one is
Hold Me Tight.
Hold Me Tight.
Or Love Sense is another good book, also written by Sue Johnson. The one that I really love, I use a lot because it integrates the Christian faith, is called Created for Connection.
Created for Connection.
By Sue Johnson. The pastor's name is Pastor Ken something. I can't remember his last name.
Love that. Okay, so we're gonna here's what we're gonna end on. The thing that I think every single couple needs probably some of the most help with.
Oh, okay.
We'll go through some. I'm gonna throw the volley to you is to, because I've heard you do this before, is let's help couples listening to this. Conflict resolution. Give me some A to Z real quick bullet points on what to, like, every time we're fighting, whenever we fight, we can't get out of the same fight. How do we resolve this? We're always butting heads. One will never let down. The other one doubles down. We'll never concede.
Yeah, we get into these really defended postures.
Correct.
So the first thing we want to do is you want to learn how, we want to figure out some way to flag.
First of all, is conflict in a marriage? I remember going to the marriage getaway.
Yeah.
And it was the one main takeaway I took from the one that we went to. It was the main takeaway is, if you're fighting, your marriage is working.
Is working, yes.
Because, okay, so with that said, that means your marriage is working. If you're not fighting, I'll never forget Leanne, there's a dictator in the relationship.
Ooh, exactly. Yeah.
If you never have fights, one of you is a dictator, most likely the husband.
One of them feels silenced and rolled over, and oftentimes the other person will be like, we're great.
Yeah.
But a healthier,
right.
A healthier,
we're great. We never fight.
I let him know what we need, and he tells me that I'm right. Like that works for me. But yes, so what that means is, that's a great thing. We were just in Salt Lake City at the marriage getaway earlier this year, and we were using that phrase, when you're
fighting in your marriage, or you're arguing, fighting.
When you're fighting, your marriage is working.
Yeah.
And they said, "Is that really true? What does that mean?" It's like, okay, let's pause and define what that means. What that means is, um, in the same sense that if you went to a physical therapist because you injured your shoulder, and the physical therapist examined every other part of your body and said, "Do you feel pain here? Do you feel pain here? Do you feel pain here?" And you said, "No, no, 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 no. Okay, you're good. You're good." And then you walked out. You'd be so frustrated. You're
Yeah,
like, "I
yeah.
told you my shoulder is hurting." And he said, "Well, if it's hurting, let's not trigger the pain." No, that's not how things heal. So we go into marriage thinking that we should somehow be able to heal wounds without feeling discomfort. And what the marriage is going to do is that anything that we avoid owns us. And so the marriage becomes the mirror that reflects back to me my insecurities. It reflects back to me my ego. It reflects back to me my toxic beliefs. It reflects them back to me in this really intense emotional proximity. And so that's why we want to say all we mean by that is the marriage has an agenda for you, and it is your wholeness. And it's not going to turn a blind eye to a part of your life where you're owned by fear or trauma. It's not gonna ignore those things. It loves you too much.